We are very good at lying to ourselves. We can talk ourselves into staying in a job that we hate or a relationship that doesn't feel right. But there is a part of us that is incapable of lying. Our body doesn't know how to lie or how to pretend. I didn't know this for many years because I was living in my head all the time. And I was constantly telling myself that I was fine and I was over my traumas and I have talked them out. But that wasn't true. My body was saying something else. I had heard about the mind body connection at the time and I understood it intellectually. But the real shift in me didn't happen until I stopped lying to myself and I started watching myself. As I was watching myself, I watched how I worked. When I was working, I was practically throwing my whole tense body onto the laptop, trying to force things to work. My mind was saying that I was being productive, but my body was kind of screaming, I'm not safe. What if this doesn't work? I watched myself, my shoulders go up to my ears before meeting someone new. And it was out of fear of rejection, while my mind was saying that I was ready to meet a new person. You may relate to these physical symptoms, or it might be different for you. It might be that tightness in your chest that shows up even nothing is wrong. Or it might be that heaviness in your shoulders that you feel like you have been carrying for a long time. Or it might be that sudden exhaustion that you feel after a full night's sleep. Whatever those physical symptoms are, they are impressions of what happened to us in the past. And feeling them today proves that even when your mind wants to forget what happened, your body remembers. And your body has been keeping the score from the very beginning, even from the time that you were just a fetus in the womb. When bad things happen to us, our mind did what it had to do. It created some patterns to prevent the same emotional pain happen in the future. At any cost, it didn't want that to happen. So our mind kind of moved on with creating those patterns, but the body didn't move on. It held on to that emotional pain and stored it in our tissues, in our cells. Now, every time that we feel like the same emotional pain is going to happen, when there is the slightest possibility of a similar situation happening, then our body starts to react the same way that it did when the original emotional pain happened. So for many of us, that sharp knot in the stomach is memory of the time when we were trying to be seen and we got criticized. Or that tightness in our throat is the reflection of the time that we were trying to express ourselves, but then we were criticized. So all of these physical symptoms is body's reactions to the events that the mind thinks is going to be similar to what happened in the past. But what do we do with these bodily reactions, with these physical symptoms? We usually ignore them or we try to think our way out of them. Sometimes we share them with others and they usually dismiss it by saying, you're just tired, or you're stressed, or you are overreacting. They do that because our symptoms triggers the very same thing that they are trying to suppress. So through observing myself and watching myself, I realized that all of these physical symptoms is our bodies call to us, bodies trying to get our attention. And if we don't listen, then it's going to shout louder in the form of more serious physical symptoms and illnesses. I had to be sick to learn that. But now, when I see my body is going to react that way, I just stop and I breathe into that part of my body that is going to is reacting, and I say to that part of my body, it's okay. You don't have to carry that burden anymore. It's not your job. You just relax. We are going to be fine. And when you talk to your body like that, your nervous system realizes that you are listening and it starts to feel safe. Your body doesn't feel the need to shout anymore and it starts to heal. Of course, it's not an overnight fix, but the more you show up for your body, the safer it feels and the more you heal. At least that has been my experience. Thank you for being with me today and listening to my story. Until next time.